Welcome to this week's episode of Inside the SPHL. A lot of action going on in the league this past weekend, but first, let's get to the guest that I brought on. I got a good one for everybody. He's a White Bear Lake, Minnesota native. He played his college hockey at the University of Wisconsin-Eau Claire. He's in his fourth professional season. He started his professional career in Knoxville with the Ice Bears. He had a stop in Watertown with the Wolves before finding his home in Roanoke with the Rail Yard Dawgs. He played all of last year in the COVID-shortened season with the Columbus River Dragons in the SPHL, where he was a part of that Commissioner Cup winning team. He's currently fifth in the league in scoring with 12 goals and 8 assists. Ladies and gentlemen, Mac Jansen. Mac, how's it going, man?
It's going good, man. Appreciate you having me.
Yeah, no, thanks for coming on, man. How's things going in Roanoke right now?
They're going good. Weather's not too bad, and there's no snow, so that's always a positive.
Yeah, definitely. You probably wanted to get a little bit further south of growing up in Minnesota and get a little further away from it, huh?
Yeah, I was just talking to my old man the other day. They got like 12 inches or something, so it's good to be away from that.
Yeah, that's right. I'm from Colorado originally, and I'm down in Alabama now, so I know all about trying to get away from the snow, but we didn't get any of that stuff like you get up in Minnesota.
Yeah.
So that's cool. So I guess let's get this going. I always kind of just start off with asking, my guests, when was it that you decided? I mean, Minnesota is a lot like Canada. I mean, everybody plays hockey. So when was it that you decided you wanted to try to pursue a professional career in the game?
I mean, really, it was college. I always knew hockey was always going to be a part of my life for the rest of my life. But after college, just wasn't really satisfied with how that career or my career would have ended at the time. I mean, even though we kind of went out on top, winning our conference championship and everything, I just wasn't satisfied personally. So, I decided to take the jump and keep on playing.
Yeah, that's awesome. So Minnesota, that's one of the probably one of the biggest states for high school hockey. How did you play all 4 years in high school?
You typically play 3. Only the super studs play 4, or at the smaller private schools they'll play 4. But yeah, I played 3. I played varsity my sophomore, junior, and senior year with a couple of close buddies, and it's just been a passion that I've stuck with ever since.
Nice. You want to give your high school a shout out? Maybe somebody will be listening.
Yeah, maybe. It's White Bear Lake, Minnesota. Go Bears.
Yeah, nice. So, you got any interesting stories? I've never had somebody that's played high school hockey on the podcast. Usually it's, I've had a bunch of Canadians and they talk about playing juniors and high school hockey. It's pretty big. I got a cousin that plays in Wisconsin high school hockey. So I know it's a big deal up there. So, I mean, you got any fun stories you want to share with us about that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I could go all day, it's kind of like, we always try and compare it to the football TV show Friday Night Lights. It's kind of similar to that. And I'd say the main story I'd have is my senior year. We knocked off a pretty good Hill Murray team. A pretty known guy in the NHL, Jake Xcel, was actually playing for that team. And we knocked him off in the section championship to go to the state tournament. And the state tournament's a pretty big deal. You play in front of close to 18,000 people in front of our Xcel Energy Center where they play. So, I'd say right there, just making that state tournament as a senior is, one of the most memorable moments in my career.
That's cool. So, did you get one over on Xcel in whenever you beat him, or?
Yeah, definitely. I actually scored. We went into 2 overtimes. I scored the OT winner. So
oh, nice.
Pretty special night.
That's awesome. So maybe one of these days you can cross paths with him again and be like, no, man, I'm better. No, no. So, so that's cool. I mean, so what is so you said it's like Friday Night Lights. I'm kind of intrigued with the whole high school hockey scene because it's just not something that definitely down here in Alabama we don't got a lot of it, and in Colorado it was when I left it was not really where it is at this point now, but it was never what you were at. I mean, what's that? I mean, are the arenas packed every night? And I mean, it's like football in Texas is what you're saying?
Yeah, honestly, it's exactly like that. All arenas all around the state are just gorgeous. Some of them are, more gorgeous than they probably should be. Some of these schools put a lot of money into their programs, and it's something that we just grow up. I know, like when we would be playing on the pond or playing street hockey over the summer, I would think about scoring a big goal for my high school rather than scoring a goal in like the Stanley Cup or something. We would just, you just bleed for your city, and that's something I still hang on to today, and it's pretty cool.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So what was it like playing in the Xcel Energy Center? I mean, that had to have been a special moment.
Well, throughout my high school career, we actually had a couple times where we played at the X. Usually they try and get teams in there to play one like regular season game, and it's pretty empty. There's not as many fans as the actual tournament. But when you get to the tournament and you play in front of a sold out crowd, our high school colors were orange, black, and white. So the student section and all the fans would always wear blaze orange. So it was pretty cool to walk out that tunnel and see thousands of fans wearing blaze orange.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's crazy to think that high school hockey is filling up the Xcel Energy Center. I mean, that's awesome. That's awesome. It makes me want to go run up there and catch some games whenever it comes playoff time.
Hey, it's a must see. I'll tell you what.
Yeah, I imagine. So, all right. So we'll move on from there. You went to college in Wisconsin at Eau Claire, and am I saying that right? I should. I got a bunch of family up there. I should.
It's tough for us Midwesterners. Our pronunciations on things are so much different than everywhere else. But I usually go Eau Claire, just a solid O. But that's definitely the Midwest in me. We extend our O's on everything. So.
Well, I'll call it that too. Just
right.
so we're on the same page.
Yeah, perfect.
So what was your decision? Was it a solely hockey decision to go and play there, or was there something with this? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's got their story. The Division I path just didn't work out for the better, the great, whatever you want to say for it. And I had a couple buddies going to Eau Claire from high school actually, and we thought, why not all get back together and try and do something special at the college level.
Yeah, that had to have been pretty fun. How far away is that from your hometown?
From the Twin Cities, it's only about no more than a 2-hour drive. So,
that ain't bad.
Yeah,
that ain't bad at all. So, kind of walk me through that experience if you can. I mean, was there what was that like? Did you guys playing with guys you played with in high school? You probably had a bond immediately on the ice with at least somebody.
Yeah, man, it was. I can really only say good things about my college experience. I had a great. We had a rather large freshman class all come in together, and at a high end, top end school, it's usually top 10 in the nation. I don't think we ever fell out of top 10 in the nation all 4 years I was there, and it was just a great experience with a great group of guys that I'll definitely remember and cherish forever.
Yeah. Yeah, is there a lot to do in that town? Is it a typical college town?
Yeah, it's a small college town, just like anywhere you get in the middle of Wisconsin. It's flat, it's cold, it's rainy, it's snowy, but those little towns in Wisconsin, you find something to do, that's for sure.
Yeah, I know there's bars on every corner. I've spent a lot of time over in the Green Bay area, and there's bars on every block. So once you were able to drink, you could go hang out there. I mean.
Exactly.
All day long, really. So,
yeah.
But that's the national sport in Wisconsin, I think, is drinking.
Yeah, I'm glad you said it, so I didn't have to. But yeah, there was a lot of drinking going on. That's for sure.
Yeah. My family's probably going to kill me for saying that. No, they'll probably agree with me. So, and they don't even listen to this anyway. So.
There we go.
But so did you have any big moments while you were playing college hockey? I mean.
Unfortunately, not really. We were in our conference, the WIAC. We only had 5 teams at the time, so if you won your conference, you didn't get an automatic bid to the national tournament, which kind of stunk. A couple times we got what we thought screwed over, because you had to win 20 games of your regular season to get that bid. Mm-hmm. But with the power of some of the teams in the MIAC, the Minnesota Conference, and then the Wisconsin Conference, there's usually a couple of teams that have more than 20 wins. Never really had any special moments besides my senior year. We beat a pretty good Stevens Boy team to win the WIAC, and that was a good way to go out with that group of guys.
Was that around the same time that a couple of other SPHL guys were at Stevens Point with, I think, Barber and Milosek? I think that's where they went. Oh, yeah, man.
I don't know if they would say the same about me, but those guys are some pretty good players, and I've been playing against those guys for many, many years. So yeah, those are some noticeable faces in my hockey world.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's a small world. You guys all just moved south, a little further south to finish playing hockey. That's pretty awesome. So.
Yeah.
So cool. So at least you can rub that in. You got them. You beat them that year. So you got that on them. So.
Yeah.
But so what was we'll move on to your pro career. So you went to Knoxville. I like to ask guys that play in this league. Did you already know about the league before you were graduating college, before that season or your senior year?
Yeah. So obviously I had a couple pretty good upperclassmen that went into the minor pro hockey system. And so I started hearing about rumblings from them. Obviously I wasn't too worried about it at the time. I was just worried about my collegiate career. But, light at the end of the tunnel came, and it was time for me to move on from college. So I just heard about the SP from one of my upperclassmen and got on the phone and called some buddies that I knew were in the league. And I actually got a tryout in Pensacola. I was down there for about two weeks when the hurricane was hitting a few years ago.
Oh, yeah.
And then, didn't make that roster. So was fortunate enough to get an opportunity in Knoxville and stuck there for a couple weeks to get my name out there in the league. And then, didn't work out there or whatever. So headed up I had a buddy in Watertown, and he just said, yeah, come on up, get a few games under your belt. Your rookie year is the hardest year, obviously, transitioning into something like that. It's hard to, find a home, for the matter of fact. And, I was actually driving up to Watertown, and Brems called me and he said, yeah, come on down. And I was like, man, I just made like a 10-hour drive from Knoxville to northern New York or whatever. So he was like, all right, just call me in a week when you're ready to come down, because we were going on a road trip the next day. I committed and everything. So I stayed and played a couple games with those guys. And when the time was right, I head down to Roanoke and, been here ever since.
Yeah. So, you've been playing well at Roanoke, especially this year. I mean, like I said in the intro, I mean, you're in the top 5 in scoring. So I know hockey's not an individual game, and none of you guys ever want to take credit for things, but the team's playing well too. So tell me a little about your decision to go and play in Columbus last year, as opposed to try to find one of the other SPHL teams that seems like everybody was trying to do.
Yeah. My situation is actually kind of interesting. I was recovering from a shoulder surgery that I had here in Roanoke. So I was here in Roanoke when I found out that we, were going to go dormant for the year or the COVID season or whatever. So that was kind of a culture shock. And I realized, I have to find a place to play. And it turns out my teammate, Brantley Sherwood, he was going down there to coach because he was also rehabbing some injuries. And, he just kind of gave me a call and he said, with how crazy this world is and everything, this year you just want to play, just get on the ice and play, throw on a jersey and, have a purpose to your season or whatever you're doing. And fortunately for us, we actually had a handful of guys, CJ Stubbs, Matty O'Day, our now coach, Wojtek Zemlicka. We were all down there together and, we just kind of weathered it and, just wanted to play some hockey. So it was good to go down there with a group of guys that I already knew and joined another great group of guys with the guys they had in Columbus and, do something that actually turned out to be pretty special.
Yeah, definitely. Tell me, you guys played every game was a home game last year, right?
Yeah, our very first weekend of the year, we went on the road, and then the very last weekend of the championship series, we went on the road. We had all home games. It was pretty nice, man.
Nice. That's nice. It makes playing back-to-backs and everything else a little easier because you can just go to the house when it's over with.
Exactly.
So that's
and the
cool.
Weather down there is rather nice as well year round.
Yeah, definitely. It doesn't snow much whenever you get down around Columbus. So
no.
Tell me about playing for Bouchard. He's got a little history here in Alabama with the Bulls, and tell me about playing for him. What was that experience for you?
It was a lot of fun. He's a great hockey guy, great hockey mind, just a great guy in general. He's not a guy that gets too angry. He loves everyone, and he made that with how crazy times were when that was all going on. Everyone was getting out of the house after being locked inside for 6 months. And, it was almost like you were doing everything again for the first time. He was a great guy to have around, just a lot of experience in hockey and in life. And he made the transition back to the real world, nice and easy.
Well, that's cool. That's good to know. So like I said earlier, you guys won the Commissioner's Cup. Tell me about that moment whenever you guys won it. That had to have been a really good feeling, especially in a season like that.
Yeah, it was a great feeling. It's crazy to think that season was only about 7 weeks long, and it feels like, it was a normal 7-month season just because the ups and downs. We had a COVID stint where our entire team had COVID, and, even though we didn't have to go on the road, you still have your ups and downs of the season. And we knew, we knew we were the talk of the league, bringing in a bunch of Southern Pro guys into a league that didn't really have the caliber of players we had on the other teams. Credit to all those teams every night. It was a battle every time we played, but at the end of the year when we won it, it was what we all went to Columbus to do. So it was a pretty big sigh of relief. And like I keep saying, man, it was a special group of guys and a pretty special moment.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, well, we'll move on from that. I think I've asked everything I could possibly ask about that. So, what do you do outside the game when you're not playing hockey? What's Mac Jansen's life like out there?
Right now, we're getting to that mid-season lull, so it's a lot of rest, a lot of couch time, a lot of Netflix. But we're pretty fortunate with good weather here in Roanoke, so when it's nice enough, we'll get out and golf or try and do anything outside, go downtown, hit some outside breweries, or you just try and be outside as much as possible. Especially growing up where I grew up, you get about no time outside during these long months in the winter. So
yeah, that's for sure. How's your golf game?
Right now, not where I'd like it to be, but thank God it's only December.
Yeah, that's right. And you're golfing in December potentially. So
exactly.
That's great.
It's a win-win.
Yeah, absolutely. What about your off seasons? What do those look like for you?
Typically, first couple months right after the season, I'll try and get away from the game. It's a long, grueling season, a lot of road trips. It's just hockey every day. It's a lot of hockey, so you got to get away from it. I'll try and get home. I've been typically staying where I'm at, just kind of helping out, trying to be an ambassador to this game of hockey, just spread it down south. I really love, you go to some of these Southern Pro cities and it's pretty cool to see the following they get. Places like Huntsville, obviously, and then even this year, the attendance that we've been getting in Roanoke is just spectacular. And the youth community here in Roanoke is just growing every year since I've been here. And it's cool to see these Southern cities loving a game that I grew up loving in a different way that, just pretty much work with kids, just hockey. You always find your way back to the rink.
Yeah, that's awesome. Good times. So, what was I have one more question and I forgot what it was now. I'm really bad at this. I don't know.
You're doing great.
My two listeners don't care though. But, I wanted to ask you about this season. So, this season kind of started off slow for you guys, and it seems like everything's kind of clicking now. You guys have been playing really great as of late. I on top of doing this, I cover the Bulls, and so I got to see you guys almost come back against the Bulls here in Birmingham, and that was one of the most impressive games I think I've seen in the SPHL ever. You guys almost came back, and it seems like after that game was when things kind of started clicking a lot better for you guys. Is that am I too far off there?
No, we've we're about 15 games in here. We've been right there all year. We know what our team has and we know what we bring to the table. We feel like we're physical. We out-physicate every team. And at the beginning of the year, we didn't even really get off to a slow start. We had 4 overtime shootout losses in a row, and that's something where you're just not getting that puck luck and those bounces that the other team was getting. And if you just stick to the grindstone, as you see, we've started winning games, and you just got to stay on that step, keep stepping on that pedal, and eventually those bounces start going your way. So it's good to know right from the jump of the season that our team had that spark and we had something there, but we just weren't getting those bounces.
Yeah, and they all started. It seems, like I said, it seems like things are rolling now. You guys are definitely on the right track. So that's really all I got for you, man. I really appreciate you taking some time to do this, and I hope we can do it again sometime in the future.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, definitely. And best of luck to you and the rest of your team throughout the rest of the season. And I look forward to seeing where this season takes you guys.
All right. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
All right. There you have it. Mac Jansen from the Roanoke Rail Yard Dawgs. He's, like I said, he's 5th in scoring this season. He's been around for a while in the league, and he's just kind of become a staple in that Roanoke franchise. And I don't know what more to say other than that. I really appreciate him coming on, and I hope you guys enjoy the interview as much as I enjoyed it. I know sometimes I don't ask all the right questions, but hopefully I got some questions and some stuff out there that you guys were looking into wanting to know about him. So let's move on. Let's move on to this weekend. So this past weekend, we had some really good hockey. Really good hockey. I mean, every team pretty much played each other and beat the crap out of each other all weekend long. And let's start out with Roanoke and Macon. So Roanoke also they had a depleted roster. I think they were short 4 guys, 4 of their normal starters coming into Friday night against Macon, and they handled business there on Friday night. They got the win 3-0, and then Macon came back and got them Saturday 4-2. So Friday's game was an interesting game. So scoreless going into the third period before Chris Vela and Mac Jansen scored 2 goals in 40 seconds apart. And then Nick Ford sealed the deal with the empty netter late in the game. And Austin Radobish, who is a shootout machine or a shutout machine last season, got a shutout in that one. And has to feel good for him to get back to that, and really the whole team. I mean, it's that was one of a couple shutouts that we've seen over the weekend. And Saturday night got off to a slow start. It was a lot like the night before, and then Jeff Jones got the scoring going for Roanoke, and then not long after that, Chris Hunt scored for Macon, and then early in the third, Macon got another one. This one was from Cody Rogers, and the Rail Yard Dawgs didn't wait long. They tied it back up, and they Nick Ford was the one that scored on the power play, and then after that, it became the Tyler Becker show. He scored 2 goals for Macon, 19 seconds apart, midway through the period, and that was all she wrote. And so Macon and Roanoke had a split, and it's always nice to see teams that have kind of struggled early on this season, like Macon has, get that W. And it's both teams. I mean, they're both playing really well. That was a very good matchup. I would love to watch it over and over again. I did like watching those two teams. I think they matched up quite well. And like I spoke with Mac a little earlier, Roanoke's starting to get things rolling. They're getting bounces going the way they want them to go, and they're moving up in the standings. And now Macon's starting to string some wins here and there together, and they're looking like they can score, because that's been something. And it was teddy bear toss night for them on Saturday night, and they were I know a lot of fans were a lot like the Birmingham fans were when Birmingham did teddy bear toss the week before. They were wondering, hey, are we even going to get a goal after getting shut out? And they did. And of course, I mean, the teddy bear toss, it's a great night. It's a great cause, and it doesn't matter if nobody scored goals. The teddy bears were going on the ice at one point or another anyway. So we'll move on. So let's go to Birmingham and Vermillion County. So 2 teams that are struggling right now, sitting down there around the bottom of the standings. And it's a 2-game series. They both took place up there in Danville, and it's the only matchup between the 2 teams this season. And the Bulls went up there without one of their top forwards, Russell Jordan, a friend of the show. He got the call up to the coast. He got to go play with the Florida Everblades over the weekend. And to the best of my knowledge to date, as I'm recording this, he's still up there. So you always like to see guys get the call up, and so best of luck to him. But we'll move on. So that first game against Vermillion County, the Bulls got the shutout. It was a very low scoring game. Hayden Stewart was in net. There wasn't a whole lot going on. Both teams were just struggling to get any kind of offense really going. The Bulls had the puck a lot in their offensive zone, and they were really dominating play in the offensive zone, and they were having their way with Vermillion County in the neutral zone, and it just didn't turn into a lot of scoring chances. But eventually Joseph I'm going to screw this up. Joseph Deviney, he scored a goal, and that's his first. He started the season with the Bulls, and then he got waived, and he ended up going, and I'm not even going to lie to you, I think he went to Peoria, but that might be a lie, and I just told you I wasn't going to lie to you. But he just had recently gotten released, and he got picked up by the Bulls, and he had a great weekend. That was the first of 2 goals that he scored over the weekend. And then early in the third period, CJ Hayes scored a goal, and that put him up 2-0. And just the way the game was going, you kind of knew that second goal was going to be the goal, because Vermillion County was really struggling to get anything going, and the Bulls, like I said, they were dominating things, and if they could have probably gotten more chances, there's a good chance that the score would have been higher, but coulda, woulda, shoulda, they didn't. They still got the win. At the end of the game, a little interesting. There's always seems like there's a little bit of drama going on around Birmingham. CJ Hayes got spearing. He got a penalty for spearing as the final horn sounded, which resulted in him getting suspended for the next matchup on Saturday night against Vermillion County. So two of the top forwards now aren't playing for the Bulls, and as they go into this second one, and Vermillion County, they found something out overnight on their way to the rink. I don't know. They ate something for breakfast and things just started clicking, because that team looked like a team that we hadn't seen play in Vermillion County. I mean, they dominated the Bulls in that game. They ended up winning that one 5-2. They scored early, and on the first shot on goal of the game on Austin Lott's, Dakota Ulmer sent it in, and that was kind of a sign of things to come. And they just kept on rolling. Joseph Davini, he tied things up in the second, and then after that, it was just a barrage of goals by the Bobcats. They scored 3 goals in roughly 3 minutes, and they never looked back. And the Bulls ended up scoring again in the third, but the comeback attempt was just it was not happening. They weren't going to get it. The Bobcats were playing well. Like I said, it was probably the best game that I have seen them play all season long. And Churchfield and net for them, it was a question mark, because as we know, their netminder got called up to actually the AHL, and he's been solid for him all year. He's played well, and then Churchfield came in, and you kind of knew there was going to be a question mark there. And I mean, even in the loss, when they lost 2-0, he kept him in it, and then he played extremely well Saturday night, and he's part of the reason, on top of the 5 goals. But he was looking good, so that was good to see. Battle of the goaltenders, which we had I can't talk today. We had a couple of battle of the goaltenders going on really over the weekend. So that one kind of that's really it. That was another series split. So we had Roanoke and Macon split, and then we had Birmingham and Vermillion County split. And it's kind of weird to call it 2-3 series, but that's what we're going to roll with on this show, because it's the only thing that makes sense in my mind whenever I say it. So moving along now to the next team, or the next series, was Peoria and Knoxville. And my, oh my, was this some good hockey. It was some exciting hockey. These two teams battled it out hard. Saturday or Friday, the first game, Knoxville jumped out to a 2-0 lead in the first period. And you were just kind of thinking, as going into the second, you're like, yeah, Knoxville is going to do their normal defensive style. They're going to shut things down, and they're going to score a bunch of goals. And Peoria just doesn't have a shot in this one. Well, that's not how it went at all. So in the third period, we seen 5 goals combined between the two teams. It was pretty much whenever one team was scoring, the other team would score shortly thereafter. And going in, or that was the second period, I'm sorry. And then going into the third period, Knoxville had a 4-3 lead. They're still going in with a lead, and it did not last long whenever Alec Bear scored about 5 minutes into it to tie things up. And this game headed into overtime. Neither team could score in overtime. I mean, just the goalies letting in a bunch of goals early on. They weren't doing it in overtime. Neither one of them wanted to be that guy. So they went on to a shootout, which was the first of our 2 shootouts for the weekend. And so Peoria went on and they won. Peoria did really well in that shootout. They got 4 or 5 goals compared to Knoxville's 2 for 5. And Peoria just I don't know. You got guys like Hageman and company that you let them go one-on-one, and more often than not, it's going to go in the back of the net. So, Peoria took that one. And then Saturday night, you're thinking, yeah, this is a good series. I'm definitely going to tune into this one on Saturday night. And Saturday night didn't disappoint either. So Peoria, they won again, 5-4. So they ended up getting the sweep over Knoxville. And this was a lot like the night before. So Knoxville jumped out to a 2-0 lead, and this time, when I was watching, I was like, I seen this show last night, so this ain't. I'm not comfortable with Knoxville's 2-goal lead, so we'll see where this goes. And then friend of the show, J.M. Piatrowski, we had him on a few weeks back. He went out and got himself a natural hat trick in the second period, and really brought the team back in. I mean, it's team sport, but his stick hit the puck that went to the back of the net. So I'm going to give him the credit that he brought the team, put him back into it. And then once again, Knoxville goes into the third period with a 1-goal lead, and Peoria had something to say about it again. And that was whenever Alex Hageman tied things up at the 13:49 mark in the game. And then about 2 minutes and 10 seconds later, not even going to try to say his name because I've already screwed up names of players that I should know their names. But number 11 for Peoria, he sealed the deal, and Peoria went on to sweep the Ice Bears over the weekend, which to me was a little shocking because Knoxville's kind of been rolling. Peoria's kind of been struggling, but you knew that with the talent Peoria has that they're going to be in any game. And so, but it was a little shocking. Knoxville didn't even get one game out of there. But at the same time, like I said, I mean, you can never be shocked in this league. So good for Peoria. They got things going over the weekend. They beat a really good Knoxville team, and congratulations to J.M. Piatrowski on the hat trick. It's always cool to see a guy do it all in one period because it's already hard enough to get 3 goals, and to do it all in a 20-minute segment of the game, especially whenever you're losing, that's pretty awesome. So we just seen that actually in the NHL the other night. Burakovsky for the Colorado Avalanche got a hat trick, and he was the only guy that scored for the Avalanche when they beat the Florida Panthers. And so, yeah, I'm going to give the Avalanche a shout out. I'm an Avs fan. Don't hate me. But yeah, so it wasn't a natural hat trick, though, like Piatrowski's. So let's move on to another one. Huntsville and Evansville played once on the weekend. It was up there at the Ford Center in Evansville, and they haven't got things rolling right off the bat. What was it? It was in the first 2 minutes of the game. Cole Reginato put a goal in the back of the net, and then Nukovic got another one. And then they went into the second period, up 2-0. And then Evansville ended up getting one from Josh Adkins, but Huntsville ended up prevailing overall in this one. Piacentini got see, I can say that name. Why can't I say these other people's names? Anyways, he got the empty netter late in the game, and the top team in the league stayed the top team in the league. And Evansville, there's no shame in what Evansville's lost there. I mean, Huntsville's just kind of been beating everybody, and Evansville was the team that actually has beaten them, one of the teams that have beaten them this season. So they're looking good. I'm not going to be down on them. I know I seen some people out there kind of complaining about the goaltending and this, that, and the other thing. And I mean, you can't be down on the team. And we're still early in the season. We're not even to the halfway point yet. So we're okay. It's all right. Everybody can breathe in Evansville because you've got a really good squad, and you just ran into the havoc again. And this time it didn't come out in your favor. No big deal. So I still got faith that Evansville is going to be one of those teams that are contending whenever we're hitting playoff time. So that was it for those two. And then there was one team that didn't even play at all this last weekend. That was Fayetteville, the Marksmen. They didn't play. I don't know why they didn't have. I don't know. I don't understand how that happens in the league, but who cares? It's minor league hockey. That's how it goes sometimes. So we're going to move on to the series of the weekend. I talked about how exciting Peoria and Knoxville was, but I'm going to tell you, Pensacola and Quad City, they put on a show for the fans up there in Quad City. They played Friday, Saturday, and Sunday night. So, by Sunday, they really knew each other really well. And the score ended up showing that exactly. And it was, like I said, it was a great weekend. So we'll start out on, Friday night. Friday, they Quad City fell behind pretty early, and the Ice Flyers scored twice in the first 2 minutes and 28 seconds of the game, and you kind of got that feeling. You're like, ooh, this isn't going to be a very good series. And I know I used to bash on Pensacola earlier, not really bash, that's the wrong word, but they only played Alabama teams. And so we'll see what happens when they play Quad City and all these other teams up north. Well, we seen they jumped in 2 goals and looking great. But the Storm then went on after that. After I just pumped the tires of the Ice Flyers a little bit, the Quad City Storm went on and scored 3 unanswered goals, 2 of them 2 power play goals. And then the third period was as Quad City had the lead. It was 3-2. The third period, there was not a lot of action. Both teams really just buckled down. And like I said, there just wasn't a whole lot going on there. They no penalties, no goals, and the game ended with Quad City prevailing 3-2. And that was just the first of many of a very exciting weekend. So that there was only 8 shots on goal combined. Both teams had 4 shots on goal in the third period. So you want to say that these teams locked things down? They definitely locked things down. So that was good. They got night 1. Night 2 was exciting. This time Taylor Price for the Storm got things going in the first with a goal, and then midway through the second, the Ice Flyers were able to tie things up. And late in the period, the Storm retook the lead, heading into the third, and it was looking like the Storm. They were looking good. I didn't know watching this game who was really going to win yet. Excuse me there. So I didn't know who was gonna win. I didn't have a good feeling, but you kind of felt like the Storm, after seeing how they played the third period the night before, that they had the lead, and you knew they could hunker down and hold that lead. And it ended up not being the case. So Pensacola took the lead halfway through the third, and then Price ended up tying it back up again late in the game. And so once again, we're going to overtime in the SPHL this weekend. And it damn near took the whole overtime period to decide it. At the 4:35 mark in overtime, Dylan Carabia, probably said that wrong. He found the back of the net, and so Pensacola wins. So now 3-game series, winner take all on Sunday, right? So it set the stage for a Sunday matinee there was no other SPHL games going on. So if you're an SPHL fan, you probably watched it. You should have been watching it if you got hockey TV, and because that game was a battle of the minds. It was like both teams had pretty much known everything about each other after those 2 games. They had gotten a really good feeling, and then coming into it, Quad City needed 2 points, and they would, for the first time, somebody other than Huntsville would be number 1. Well, Huntsville would still be number 1. Quad City would be tied with them, but for 2 points, they could have shared the league. And then the Storm, or the Ice Flyers, needed 2 points, and that would put them in a 3-way tie for 4th with Evansville. And let me look. I already forgot the other team. Unprepared, very unprepared. Sorry about that. Evansville and Fayetteville, all with 22 points. So that it was exciting. Teams had opportunity coming into Sunday, to move up in the standings, and bragging rights on the little 3-game series that happened. So it was a goaltender show, that was for sure. There was not a single goal scored in 3 periods of hockey. It was ridiculous. And let me tell you, I don't know if you follow me on Twitter at FPH Bowls, or follow me on Instagram. Just look me up. I don't remember my username. It's James Hayes, some number 37 maybe. But so I posted a video of Karpinski late in the game. I think there was about 1:24 left to go, and there was just this chaos ensuing in front of the net, and you were just sitting there thinking the Storm are going to win this one. The Storm are going to get a goal. There's no way, because Karpinski couldn't find the puck. All of a sudden, a Quad City player comes out with it, and they take a shot at the net. Karpinski stops it, goes across the ice. Karpinski's over there, and he looked completely out of position whenever the cross ice came past, and he was coming across his crease in traffic. As a Storm player took a shot, and Karpinski absolutely robbed him with his glove. And he, like I'm saying, he looked like he was out of position. When the whole play was setting up, you were looking at, my mind was saying, Storm, win this one. What a game. Crazy game. But then Karpinski had other plans, and I was like, wow, what a game. What a great game. What a save. So if you haven't, check it out. I posted the video, like I said, and I think you could probably find it on Pensacola's page, but I'm trying to drive traffic to my page. So come to my pages and look at it and follow me on socials. I put out a lot of good content. I try anyways. So anyways, moving along instead of trying to pump my own tires here. So he made that great glove save. This one went into overtime. Nobody scored in overtime. So these goaltenders were playing really well. And so we got our second shootout of the weekend. And both goaltenders were still playing good. I mean, they weren't letting anything in at all. It was almost fitting that the goaltender showcase, the skills competition, was the way this one ended, because the way that these two netminders played so well. And Pensacola ended up winning this one. Marcus Russell's stick send in the game winner for Pensacola, and Pensacola won the little mini series over the weekend, and they went up to Quad City and they handled business. I mean, they taken 2 out of 3. They handled business. Like I said, they did a good job going up there, playing the second best number 2 team in the league, and Pensacola showed that they're not going to be a pushover, and you got to look out for them when you see them on the calendar. So that was, like I said, that was the series of the weekend. That really was. It was a lot of exciting hockey. And, when 2 teams play each other 3 times in a row, you usually figure the third game is going to get pretty nasty between the 2 teams. And this one really didn't. It didn't get chippy. There wasn't a lot going on. I mean, it was just – and obviously in a 0-0 game, you're not going to take stupid penalties. So that probably plays a lot into it. But – overall, it was a good series. Good series. If you missed it, you missed some of the best hockey that's been going on in the SPHL so far this season. So rambling on some more. So let's talk about the standings here for a minute. Let me pull them back up on my screen. Huntsville's still sitting up top. They are the I don't know if they were up top on week 1. Week 1's odd because you can have a couple of undefeated teams. So we'll say Huntsville's been number 1 all season long. And if I'm wrong, oh well. It's all right. Nobody listens to this anyways. So then you got Quad City 1 point back at 32 points. They're 14-2-2-2. And they've played 20 games. So Huntsville's got 2 games in hand on Quad City. So even if Quad City would have tied for the league best, Huntsville's still got 2 games in hand there. And then right below that, you got Knoxville with 28 points hanging in. They're close, after their struggles over the weekend against Peoria. They're still sitting up top of the standings, and that should probably say something about Peoria. They beat one of the teams that's contending for number 1 in the league at the moment. And then the team that didn't play at all is the Marksmen. They're sitting in 4th with 22 points. They're 11-6, 0-0, and then you got 2 more teams with 22 points. Evansville's right below them if you look at the standings, and then Pensacola. Fayetteville is got a game in hand on both of those teams right now. The Thunderbolts and the Ice Fires have both played 18 games to this point. Fayetteville's played 17. Next on the list, number 7, Peoria, who took home 4 points on the weekend, which couldn't have come at a better time because they got the Rail Yard Dawgs hot on their tail. But yeah, they got 18 points. They're 7-3-1-3. And they're looking good. They're looking like they're getting things figured out. I expect to see them start moving up the standings, but I don't know who they're going to overtake because everybody above them's doing all right. I mean, that's that section along with Roanoke. That's the next team on the list. They got 17 points. They're 1 point back, 6-5, 2-3, and they've played 16 games. And they're one of those teams that, like Max said when he came on earlier, a couple bounces go the other way. Their win-loss record would look a lot different. So you're not going to count them out. Don't count them out at all. I'm telling you, don't count them out. So after that, that's where the standings kind of get. You see the divide in the standings. So you got the Bulls, and then you got Macon, and you got Vermillion County, and it's 3 teams that have just been struggling. The Bulls. All 3 teams actually came away with a win this weekend. So that was good for all 3 teams. Not good for them going against each other because they're not really separating from each other at all. The Bulls are sitting in 9th with 10 points. Macon's got 7 points in 10th, and Vermillion County's got 5, sitting in 11th. So both the Mayhem and the Bulls have 3 wins. Vermillion County only has 2. The Bulls have more points because they've lost in overtime, which, as we all know as hockey fans, you get 1 point in the standings when you go to overtime. So that's all there is to that. So yeah, the standings, they're still tight. There's no clear divide right now. I mean, I know early in the season I was talking about how Huntsville's just running away with this one. Quad City is maintaining with them, and then Knoxville's not too far behind them. And it's like I said, it's still too early. The bottom 3 of the league, they're the ones that really need to figure something out soon before the rest of the league, the playoff teams, really run away from them, because it's you get into December, you really you should really start having a little bit figured out. The teams have been playing together, and you'd like to say that if a team is going to mesh and things are going to start clicking, you usually see that around December in this league. And like I said, I mean, all 3 of those teams, if they still want to be in it or threatening towards the end of the season, they're gonna have to look to turn things around. But like I said, when Vermillion County played Saturday night, they found offense. I don't think I mentioned that was the most goals they've scored in a single game all season, and who knows, that might be some momentum that they roll into this next weekend with, and who knows. And I mean, Birmingham won a game, and like I said, they were without 2 of their best forwards, and granted, it was CJ Hayes' fault. He was out one night, but Russell Jordan is up in the coast for now, and that's not an excuse, because they played well and they still got some talent. But it's it's just going to be interesting. All 3 of these teams, they're all 3 slowly getting better, but at the same time, they're playing these teams that are doing well right off the bat, and those aren't turning into wins for them. So they're getting to where, like I said, if they don't get things figured out here pretty soon, they might find themselves a little too far out of it when it comes playoff time. So that's it for talking about the standings. Let's talk about what the games are coming up this week. So after having a week off in Fayetteville, the marksman Harrison Harper, friend of the show, they will all travel on the road for 3 games. They're going to be in Macon first, and then they're going to play back-to-back against the Birmingham Bulls in Pelham. And this is very much like the last time that that the marksmen traveled to Georgia and Alabama. Except for it's the opposite direction. Last time they played the Bulls twice and then went to Macon. This time they're going to stop in Macon on the way into town, and that should be a good series. Like I said, the last time the Bulls and the marksmen played, there was, what was it? The Bulls scored 8, and then the marksmen scored 5. So if you like offense, maybe we'll see that again. Who knows? But definitely a fun series to watch, a fun couple games, I should say. And then, like I said, Macon's getting back in it, so they should. It's going to be a true test. Going back to what I was talking about in the standings, these 2 teams playing Fayetteville, it's going to be a gut check for them. I'll put it that way. So Fayetteville's a good squad, and if the Bulls or Macon or both can come out with some wins in the weekend from Fayetteville, they got to be feeling pretty good about themselves. And you got to remember, Fayetteville's also had a week off, so no telling what's going to happen. But it should be an exciting one. And then the next one is a series that I'm pretty excited for. I'm gonna lock this down as the 3 games of the weekend that are game of the week, because just because it's Pensacola and Huntsville. So I mean, we've seen what happened when Pensacola played 3-3 this last time, and that was a hell of a series. So I think that they can hang. They've played Huntsville enough. They know who that team is. I mean, they don't know all their tricks, but Pensacola's playing well, and obviously Huntsville's playing well, and this is 2 teams that can score goals. They got good goaltending, and like I said, it's going to be 3 really fun games to watch, and I got those locked in as my my games of the weekend right there. And then Evansville and Roanoke are going to play twice in Roanoke, so that should be another good one. Evansville coming off of that loss to Huntsville, and Roanoke coming off of a split on the weekend with Macon. So both teams are going to be hungry, and that, like I said, that should be another good one. And then on top of playing Fayetteville once, the Mayhem are going to play a 2-game set against the Ice Bears up there in Knoxville, and that should be fun. It should be fun too. I say, why do I keep saying fun? That should be a good series. Let's put it that way. So Macon in Knoxville, it'll be an interesting game to watch. You know, Knoxville's probably not very excited that they dropped back-to-backs against Peoria, so you're going to look at a hungry team, and then Macon. It's just, which Macon team are we going to see? That's all that comes down to. If we see the Macon team that, you know, shut out the Bulls, and then the team that beat Roanoke on Saturday night, that's the team that can probably contend with Knoxville. But if we see the Macon team that's been getting blown out at other points of the season, I don't know. Maybe it won't be such a good set of games. So next up, we got Peoria and Quad City. They're going to face off Friday night at the Tax Slayer Center there in Moline, Illinois. And you guys all know, if you're been a fan of this league for a while, that's a pretty good rivalry between those teams. They're so close. They both got awesome fan bases, and it should be a great game. I mean, especially with Peoria, you know, they probably got a chip on their shoulder right now after the way they were able to come out of this past weekend. And Quad City, I mean, they probably have a chip on their shoulder too. So, and I mean, both teams are always going to put up their A game when they play each other. So that'll be fun. And then after that one game on Friday night, both of those teams will go on to play the Vermillion County Bobcats. Let's see, Saturday night, the Bobcats will be in Peoria, and then Sunday they will travel to the Storm will travel to Danville to take them on. And so we'll see what the Bobcats can do playing, which this is probably going to end up becoming some kind of decent little rivalry too here. I mean, all three of these teams are pretty close to each other, so it'll be interesting to see how the Bobcats come into this one after winning and winning handily. It was their first win came in overtime. They this game they probably figured that they were going to win midway through the third period. They were probably feeling pretty good about themselves. I know the fans were. I mean, that little arena was rocking and a rolling. So it'll be interesting to see if they can build some momentum on this, because like I said, I'm not going to say it again. But so, yeah, that is all I have for you guys this week. Thanks for listening, and until next time.